Okay. Oh, maybe you could chant Mangalacharana. Or maybe Jagora Chandra Prabhu.
Have it here opened. You have to look right. But I can get it. Why is it not here? No, doesn't cooperate, unfortunately. I don't understand it. Should be here.
Okay, we know who that is.
Sounds like Krishna Contest joining us. I don't understand it. My WhatsApp doesn't want to find a file that I had opened 1,000 times. Anyone has it?
I don't have it.
Okay, so let's be quick. Let's make it just because anyway we have so little time. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Janma Prabhu.
So you want to MC the meeting, Natalia?
Okay, yes, but yeah. So no Mangalacharana. Nobody.
No, that was Mangalacharana. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Okay. I don't know. Did you prepare anything? Anybody?
I was listening to the lectures, to both of them,
Mhm.
and yeah, I didn't manage to make the notes really, but I somehow some points I have in the head, or
Yeah. I know what is in the lectures. I know I can say, and but I did not prepare. Yes, and I also uploaded some pages from book of Swayam Bhagavan Keshav Maharaj, from his summary of Bhagavatam. I just was thinking that this Madhvananda Prabhu liked some tables and.
I'm always scared of these extremely structured
Okay.
presentations. Like I have these first issues of, how is it called actually? They've done it. Radhanath Maharaj's disciple. What's his name?
Gauranga.
Oh, yeah, Gauranga Prema or something like that. Name. And yeah, one can do it like that, but I figure out that reminds me too much of school time. And it maybe creates the subconscious message that it's something mechanical, and I inwardly protect myself from that. Somehow my head just doesn't take it. Although I would love to have nicely structured knowledge of Bhagavatam, but somehow it doesn't click.
Okay. Anna Paine, how are you? And are you prepared somehow for this discussion?
Which ones?
No.
Jai Guru.
Jagorachan. Oh, okay. Hare Krishna, Ratnamal. Nice to see you. We never see you.
She's always hiding behind the screen.
Okay. I don't know which topic to take, and maybe Jagorachan Prabhu, maybe you could tell just about your situation, your preparation, and your.
I'm not prepared at all.
Okay. Okay. And Krishna Kund.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I am half prepared, or maybe 1/3 prepared. I listened to the first lecture. I didn't manage to listen to the second one. And from the first one, the most important thing that I walked away with is that if you act in such a way and speak in such a way that devotees are unhappy with you, then your propensity for demoniac tendencies increases. And I think that was the biggest one for me because it's kind of relevant with what I'm dealing with. So it was also interesting for me how Maharaj, anyway, I let others speak.
Yeah, the structure was the first 11 chapters of 7th Canto describe how to obtain bhakti through service to devotees, listening, and humility. And last chapters are about Varnashrama system, this teachings of Narada Muni. And Maharaj, in the second lecture, the 13th lecture, is completely about this topic of Varnashram according to Srimad Bhagavatam. Yes, and I don't know. I cannot say something, anything personal. I just know the structure, know the information, and I don't know what.
Maybe we should ask Nila Purushottam Prabhu
Yes, maybe.
about that 13th lecture, because he told me that he was really overwhelmed. It was such an excellent presentation. So maybe we could just ask him to say what was the deepest impression for him, or what were the points that were so overwhelmingly good.
Yes.
What I was really nicely impressed was how Maharaj deals with that topic, knowing that it separates many devotees, the opinion on the meaning and importance of Varnashram Dharma, and he could very nicely create a balance by very siddhantically, I would say, and according to Bhagavatam, point out like the faults of both extremes. Like one extreme being we are pure devotees, we don't need this varnashram, it's bogus, it's rejected by our acharyas and whatever. And so he could very expertly balance that extreme, showing the relevance of varnashram. And on the other hand, he very nicely pointed out how there is the whole movement within our movement of devotees who are practically fitting the Rupa Goswami's explanation how Varnashram Dharma and other things can cover the bhakti, putting more stress on it than what it belongs actually to the Varnashram Dharma. And also what was very nice, and it was still in that 12th lecture, I believe, that Maharaj very nicely explained the structure of the 7th canto, like being the natural continuation of the 6th canto, where we have heard the difference between the mixed bhakti and pure bhakti. And then naturally the question is, okay, I have understood mixed bhakti, I should reject, I should strive for pure bhakti. And how do I get it? How do I attain it? And Maharaj very nicely presented that's the 7th canto's topic, how to get pure bhakti. And I was really happy for it. It sound to me like one could say like simplified, but it was so deep just to see that this first part describing the story of Prahlad Maharaj, in that connection we would say, as him being the model for the pure devotee, and his like direct achievement of pure devotion compared to the second part of those last 5 chapters of 7th canto, showing that okay, if that that part is not available to you. That I like that Maharaj put it like that, like being like in advance excusing those aspirants for pure devotional service. Maybe you don't have a chance to meet with a with a pure devotee or with an advanced Vaishnava to directly receive bhakti from his heart into your heart via media of listening his Harikatha, chanting the holy name with him, and like having his association, which is basically what I've understood that was Maharaj's conclusions on that part of directly receiving the pure devotion, pure bhakti, compared to Varnashrama Dharma being rather well, how would we say? I want to say like just indirect or you know, Natalia, what word?
Alternative.
Alternative, yeah, probably, yeah, that's a good word. Alternative way. If you can't go directly, you have to take alternative road. But still, and that was maybe so nice to repeatedly hearing that it deserves the respect of being alternative way. It's not just like matter, okay, it's something less, we don't care. But for many souls, it might be the only chance to make their steps, because they're not even like adhikaris for pure devotional sangha. They don't have the qualification to appreciate pure devotional sangha. And yeah, exactly as Anapayani mentions in the comments, exactly like that you first need some purification to being able to appreciate pure devotional sangha and really get the benefit of it. Maharaj gave some nice examples. That was still in that first lecture, that 12th lecture, I believe, and that he mentioned that example with, it was a little bit different connection actually philosophically with this preaching program of Chaitanya Chandracharan Prabhu in that wealthy man's house. And that was connected with the second chapter, actually, with the Hiranyakashipu's Paka preaching of the spiritual knowledge. Paka, quote to quote. And that was also for me very nice point. And also I really noticed how Maharaj brought our attention to the very first chapter of the seventh canto, which was hidden to me for a long time, but I remember only when I opened Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, I was so surprised how many quotes on sadhana bhakti Rupa Goswami uses from that chapter. Actually, it's amazing, you know, this whole thing of absorption, this series of verses that even if your anger and enmity cause you to be absorbed in the Supreme Lord, it's on the absolute platform, and you will only benefit from it actually. And and then Narad Muni says there is always mind blow. I believe it's 26th verse, if I remember correct, that actually in this being that the objective, the absorption in the Supreme Lord, the bhakti is not as good as enmity and anger.
Mhm. It was for the point that the God is impartial, and
Yeah.
and for it doesn't matter which miseries anybody has, there is a way to to serve God, to know God. And
Yeah. And there is really so much in the chapter. There is Praman for greatest controversy ever, Jiva's fall, because the answer is it doesn't really happen. Directly said by Bhagavatam. It's not even just a purport. It's directly Bhagavatam. It's 35th verse, I believe. It says it's just improbable that such a thing happens, and that's why Jai and Vijay's example is given in the Bhagavatam to see how exceptional it is, and that it's always under the direct desire of the Lord Himself. And then there is this also Rupa Goswami is using it in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, this, how is it called? Bringa Kita Nyai, this insect being caught in the hole by the wasp, and being so absorbed in its fear of the wasp, he creates the body of the wasp himself, which is Rupa Goswami uses this praman, this verse as a praman for like seva sadhaka rupena siddha rupena, that if we are absorbed in our desired goal, then we create that future for ourselves, which is amazing. So, and Maharaj had quite a statement there. He said, actually, if you understand this first chapter, you can consider that you have understood seventh canto, which is quite bold statement. So these were like few of my what I remember. And yeah, this 13 lecture was amazing. There were so many details. I really loved how Maharaj in protection of the conception of Varnashrama, he started to explain that actually what created havoc historically was that that people just he used the word divorced. They divorced bhakti from the varnashram system, and he pointed out that if you take away bhakti, you will end up with totally exploitative mechanism, and that's proved by the history. That's how the caste system came about, and then instead of the higher positions in the society binding you to protect others and being helpful to others, gave you the mandate to exploit others, actually, like total something which is totally opposite to the intention of that social structure.
Yes, it was also about this modern way of egalitarianism, which is impersonalism, and we are not equal, not everyone, and nothing to do with, we are so different in different levels. And also he was talking about those marutas in the temple in the South India, that they are not just 13 marutas, but they are on different levels totally, also because of their qualities. And if we are, and Varnashrama gives this personal way to reach God.
It brought me also to the thinking that Srila Prabhupada made that point many times, and our acharyas actually, that that bhakti is actually what works for the transcendentalist on any path, actually. That's the point, that even if you want jnana to be effective, there must be some elements of bhakti. Even if you want Karmakanda to be effective, there must be some elements of bhakti. And in the same way, he connected it with Varnashram, and that it's so crucial. He even mentioned that it's like a machine, and the bhakti is the battery that really gives it life. And then if you take away battery from it, then the whole thing is just useless. It has no value actually. It's only misused in that stage. In that case.
Yes, okay, maybe Anapainira could add something. We don't have...
Hare Krishna. Listening to Lila Purushottam and Prana Hariprabhu is also here. So we were like, wow, exactly the same points we were struck with. Prana, do you want to add some other expanding these comments or?
We would love to see you if it's possible.
All right, so we are kind of in the kitchen. I'm so sorry because it's morning and he have to leave for work very soon. But
kitchen is still considered like altar for Vaishnav.
yeah, we kind of can. Yeah, I can
to.
see Yagiran's altar is there. So next to him.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Yes, I mean, Prabhu, you said it all. I really appreciated really those few points which Maharaj elaborated on. They were so new to me. I never heard about the preaching, the difference between the motive behind the preaching. And are we like Prahlad Maharaj or Hiranyakashipu? And it made me think just, yeah, how important reading Srimad Bhagavatam is, because these lessons are there really painted very descriptively in these two characters. And they're juxtaposed, they're put right next to each other for our comparison, and often it's overlooked. But yeah, Maharaj's overview of the Bhagavatam really gave such a new perspective for me of that specifically. And also this point about Varnashram, I had no idea what the last 5 or 6, I guess 5 chapters of the 7th canto, how that was connected would have escaped me for the rest of my life. I did not realize this, but so eloquently put about, he was quoting the one verse about how one has to get the dust from the lotus feet of a pure devotee. And if one doesn't have this chance to associate, like you said, Prahlad Maharaj with Narada Muni, and that Kevala Bhakti, that path of pure devotion, versus someone who doesn't have that opportunity, then what else? And Narada Muni is, in fact, correct me if I'm wrong, Narada Muni speaking to King Yudhisthira, right? Yeah. So Narada Muni also is speaking about this path of Varnashram. So yeah, I was thinking about how in the devotional society and communities, there is often a lot of misunderstanding surrounding Varna Ashram's relevance as bhaktas. And I thought Maharaj dealt with the subject matter very in a very balanced way. I mean, he in a truthful way. He said that actually it's relevant for those who are not doing pure bhakti, and otherwise it's not. He mentioned about Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and I think is in Chaitanya Shikshamrita, the progressive steps.
Wonderful part, yeah.
Yeah, so that was really, really wonderful to hear. And it just made me think how there are many interpretations. I mean, staying in the temple for so many years, you know, you hear classes from many, many devotees, many senior devotees, and often these sections, different sections of the Bhagavatam are spoken on, and the perspectives are very vastly different, which is not a bad thing in and of itself, I mean, we should all kind of approach it. We have to innately. There has to be, what am I getting from the Bhagavatam, and then you speak it. But it's just interesting how vastly different it is from, like, I was thinking of how an artist, like if you go to a museum and you look at a painting, many people surround the painting and they give different interpretations. What did he mean by this? But then if you ask the artist, what did the actual artist intend? What was the meaning? So similarly, like if we understand Vyasadev's intention of Srimad Bhagavatam and read it through that lens, and I think that's what Maharaj really was bringing out, that obviously the relevance of Varnashram is going to be a dependent factor. It's you could say inferior to bhakti, and as you mentioned, every process requires bhakti to be successful. So it's actually the section of Varnashram is actually a glorification of bhakti.
Wow.
So yeah, just I greatly appreciated these two. You can always count on Bhaktivedanta Maharaj to dive deep and then present some novel treasures. So I was touched actually by the lectures.
Yeah. I'm always surprised. I'm so puffed up that I always think, oh yeah, I have some understanding of this topic. Yeah. And you know, being so there to think, probably could guess what Maharaj is gonna speak about. And then usually it's like total mind blown, the outlook and the depth of the view. Like what I mentioned in the sixth canto, that when we were discussing, like I was just thinking, okay, sixth canto is going to be about Nam Tattva, and it was just something totally not totally different, but it was I was really mind blown.
Yeah, it's really nice to hear these.
Actually, as you were speaking, it reminded me the importance of that phrase Muhura Hora Sikabhu Vibhavaka. That's the required insight, that's the required adhikar qualification to really have the insight into these messages of Srimad Bhagavatam, because otherwise you're not really in line with the mood of Shukadev Goswami. What's his like intention behind speaking what he's speaking. So
Nice.
so that and connecting it with Madhavananda Prabhu's always stressing that point again and again and again, that's the importance of hearing Bhagavatam from such a person, because we won't make it in the corner with the book. That's from these classes of Bhaktivedanta Maharaj. It's so obvious, these parts of Bhagavatam, we've read them how many times. But I, for myself, can admit that I wasn't qualified or able to extract these tattvas, these siddhantas from it.
Great point.
Yeah, also felt the same way about this over and over stressed point about that only way to get bhakti is sadhu's mercy and association. So that verse which Prana was mentioned, I don't remember from which chapter, but first half of the seventh canto, that stressing out that you are an artist, anything, you cannot help it, nothing gonna work except the dust of the lotus feet of the Vaishnava. So that's the only way, basically. Yeah, and Madhavananda Prabhu in his Kadas, one of his main messages is that. So, and in Varnashrama presented as a preparation of the heart to meet the sadhu that was also really, coming in tune with all that perspective, which I didn't think about, although kind of, didn't really look indirect way on this specific subject. That was really, really interesting. So basically everything seventh canto is about, for me, it was the main highlight. So only Mercy of Sado. Again, it was taught by the example of the devotees who are kind of feeling inspired in Krishna consciousness and grew up on their classes and things like that. But it's like new light of it, even like more stronger, like, different color of the light. But anyway, so it was stressed out again. And the point about preaching was also for me when Guru Maharaj, he was explaining in details in the class, like, so what's the difference between two of those externals? They may look exactly the same. The difference is that from the preaching of Hiranyakashipu, his wife, his mother, they were listening, but they didn't become devotees. So no one becomes a real devotee from that preaching, basically. And I was like, kind of thinking about that, and how Prahlad, there is, I don't know if there is a continuation where you can hear that those people became devotees. I think so, right? So, but I don't know where it mentioned. So those classmates of Prahlad Maharaj, but I guess they became, because Prahlad Maharaj is a
I don't
true
know.
one.
There was one lecture of Ananta Shri Prabhu. He was, but I don't remember what exactly he said. He said that it is not automatically that if we have relatives and this, it was something that, yes, those who were listening to Prahlad Maharaj and those who were retelling it to others, they became devotees. And
Oh wow, that's really nice.
yes, and it is not that. Yes, the question of the lecture was: does it go automatically that the generations, some generations after a birth of devotee, everybody becomes liberated? Or yes, and yes, there was like. Okay, I'm mixing something like getting liberation and becoming a devotee. Yeah, and the point was that to become a devotee, you need to do the same things as like retell and to keep this image in mind as your example for your actions.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. And also, I was thinking about Krishna Kun's first comment also, which also, reflected in my heart a lot too, that if we, in this life, our behavior towards devotees is increasing our previous propensities, basically. So if we, hurt devotees, we displease devotees, so it's increase our demonic propensities. If we do opposite, if we please devotees, we make them happy, so it's increase our devotional propensities. And that's so important to keep in mind. I was also meditating on that specific point too.
Yeah. That was I noticed that also. It was also one of the takeaways from.
Thank you very much. Maybe some feedback more from Krishna Kund. And then after Jai Gorachandra also maybe got some ideas, something touched you after Krishna Kund could you talk also?
I don't know if I can add anything. You covered so many points, and right now nothing comes to my mind and heart that was not mentioned, and I would have mentioned it. That first chapter, I mean, yeah, I can only repeat, so I don't know if that has so much value. The fact is that, these Varnashram chapters, that was always a mystery for me as well. I never understood how on earth they got there. so late in the Bhagavatam. And the first chapter, I don't know. I don't really have any specific comments, so I would rather not take the time.
Gorachandra, maybe you got something of our discussion and some ideas, some connections. Okay.
Or maybe I just remember this. I mean, I think Prana Prabhu mentioned, I think maybe about the preacher's motivation. That was such a simple story from Bhakti Vigyan Maharaj. But I also found that part very, very relevant. I'm sure that all of you probably had some experience like that, that sometimes if somebody has a very strong and very pure motivation, they don't even need to talk to you. They you just need their merciful glance, and that's all you need for them to instill some faith or to push you forward. And you know how when you go, Guru Maharaj, I have so many problems, we need to talk, okay? There you go in front of Guru Maharaj, and there is no question, no problem, no no difficulty. Yeah, that bhakti shakti that comes from the body of a devotee, an actual devotee with the right motivation. Anyway, so I just kind of really marked that point for myself more than anything else, to at least try to keep motivations pure, even if I am not pure, even if I do have material desires, but at least when I'm trying to give to someone, then it should really be giving. Anyway, just my 2 cents.
I really like how Pranahari put it, that we can see those chapters on Varnashrama, we can see them in the same way as glorification of bhakti. If we understand that the Varnashrama will work only like based on bhakti, then in the essence it's glorification of bhakti. It says like even something so indirect will work if you spice it with at least a few drops of bhakti. Then you will get a positive effect, positive result.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
In
it's
the
really
okay, Anna.
No, just wanted to appreciate what Krishna Kun said and Purushottam. I just added that it's glorified bhakti even more, that it's so independent, doesn't need anything external, just the presence of bhakti in the personality, just having huge impact on others.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. In the Russian lecture, which we were studying for this week, like last week and this week, there was a talk that there are so many topics, disciplines which are described in Srimad Bhagavatam, demigods, all this jnana, yoga, Jyotish, time, mantras, how to chant mantras, how to worship demigods, and it is so easily to take shelter of something of these pieces, if not knowing, if not being connected to a pure devotee, because only and Vyasadev connected everything, all these Vedic disciplines all together, that bhakti is connecting all of them, and all of them are created to find Krishna, to see Krishna, to know Krishna. And so also this Varnashram is also one such a piece of this material world, and it also has its place in this system, how to get closer to Krishna. And also this is direct quote also from the lecture, that to know God means to see God, and one who did not see God in person, he does not know him yet. So therefore the whole Bhagavatam is a darshan. It's a darshan of the Lord, and ultimately it facilitates us to have darshan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in person.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. I liked it. And also, I don't know, maybe in connection with that, somehow we could meditate that 7th canto and 8th canto are the hands of Krishna, of hands of Krishna. And it's also relationships with devotees and his hands. So kind of.
Yeah, I also really like the how to call it, the crescendo of the like the final Maharaja's conclusion, reminding us of the real intention of why Narad Muni starts to again speak about his life. This was so Hare Krishna Gaurachandra. And this was so amazing. This was really like to see to see the connection, like again, like summarizing through that story, that point that you get it from the devotees, from the Mahabhagavats. You get it. That's the most direct and effective way to come in contact with pure bhakti, to get pure bhakti, actually. So even after that's probably our common wonder, or was at least until then, until hearing Maharaja's explanations, that why are these chapters there? What's the point? Also, this in the 13th chapter, that elaboration on the gradual it's not like development, but the gradual position or standpoint of the different levels of the Dharma Shastras was also quite interesting. He mentioned like where
Yagyavalkya and Manusmriti.
what motivation was behind the Yagyavalkas, and so that was also quite interesting to get to know this perspective, because that was something totally out of my awareness or view. So I was happy for that. And that term, that was also very nice for me, just to use this term, like Bhagavatam's Dharma Shastra, like these 5 chapters are Bhagavatam's Dharma Shastra. That itself is really far out titled to how to call that part of Bhagavatam.
Also, I liked the point that intention of a devotee is always to defend Lord, and to show that he is impartial or partial to to devoted devotional service. And also there was this point of competition also between a devotee and the Lord, that they that, glorifying each other, and it is competition, always a competition. And Krishna always gives the victory to devotee to a devotee.
Yeah. Also, Maharaj just briefly mentioned on the beginning of that 13 lecture this 1 to 13 Atak Pumbin Dvijashreshta Varnashrama Vibhagasa. And for me, that's like I immediately as Maharaj started to present that topic, for me, my mind always went to that verse, like that must be our connection. We have to understand Varnashrama in that way, that if it has any other purpose than some Siddhim Haritoshanam, then to please Lord Hari, then we are just missing the point, actually. That was another connection that I created with like how to connect the rather bigger discussion in those 5 chapters, going into details of each ashrama and varna, like to have a sutra for it. One could very easily use this verse, that if we are in any way concerned about the purpose of Varnashrama, then it is Samsiddhir Haritoshanam, that is its perfection, that is its siddhi.
Okay, how is it this time?
Good, I think we covered it nicely.
Okay, then we have 5 weeks and 5 cantos exactly now ahead.
So that means, yeah, it was, but it's 17 lectures, so it's 4 more lectures, I believe.
Yes, like
Right?
like here, I don't know exactly how it is divided. Like here, there was 2 lectures about 7th canto. But maybe there will be. I don't know. I did not because I have never listened before this.
Didn't get that far. Also, I've somewhere here I stopped listening in before.
But I will listen and like and I will tell what is what, and maybe there will be some overview also of everything again and again.
So for next week we listen to the 14th lecture.
14th lecture, yes, for sure. We will discuss 8th canto next week, and yes, 14th lecture, I guess.
Oh, I'm already curious what's gonna come up with with the 8th canto, because there is so many stories actually. So I'm looking forward.
All right, thank you so much, dear Vaishnavas, for this wonderful discussion about 7th canto.
Thank you
You.
for participating. Okay, have a nice weekend, have a nice programs.
Well, I will be posting. Actually, we will live stream Prabhu's kathas tonight. So we'll post on our WhatsApp group. I will post the YouTube link for.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
6 o'clock today. And then for the weekend, if you want to know in advance, it's the Saturday is morning Bhagavatam class. I hope it's gonna be live streamed also. I've asked, and it seems that they have the Wi-Fi in the temple room, so hopefully it's gonna work. Then from the 4 o'clock, there is afternoon program in Prague's Harinam Mandir will be also Katha. And then on Sunday from 1 o'clock, if I'm correct, is Sunday feast lecture. Okay. Good. Thank you so much.
Please accept our humble obeisances, Hare Krishna.
Please accept my obeisances to Radhisha.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Lord Krishna ki jai.
Oh, yeah.